You should visit the Middle East this year, and let me tell you why. The Middle East is the most misunderstood area of the world. I've been to 5 countries across the Middle East, and I'm just gearing up for my 6th trip to the region. And honestly, it is one of my favourite areas in the world, if not my favourite. The people are the kindest, most hospitable people that you will meet. The food is incredible. The culture is amazing. There's history that goes back to the beginning of time, and it has a real diversity of landscapes. There is desert, sure, but there's mountains, there's beaches, there's steppe as well. And it is this fact that it is so misunderstood that makes me say that you should really visit this year. So the Middle East is a huge place. It stretches from Iraq in the northwest to Egypt in the southwest to Iran in the northeast to Yemen in the southeast. Now, there are a few places in the Middle East that I would not go. I'm not saying that everywhere is absolutely fine to visit, but those places are limited. And to be honest, I would go to most places in the Middle East at the moment. So let's talk about the places that I wouldn't go. The places that I wouldn't go are Palestine and Israel. Palestine, obviously there is still war going on, and even in the places where there isn't war, people are focusing on rebuilding. I don't think that tourism is appropriate there, anywhere there at the moment, and probably won't be for a while. Lebanon, I would go to Lebanon if I had a proper reason to, but I wouldn't just go for a jolly at the moment, because again, they are rebuilding after months and months of bombing and turmoil. I wouldn't visit mainland Yemen because again, there is a lot going on there. There's been a lot going on there for a while, and I don't think that is getting any better. I don't know that much about it, but I wouldn't visit mainland Yemen. And I would think carefully about visiting Syria. I would probably visit Syria at some point in the not too distant future, and that is because my partner has been talking to a lot of people in Syria recently who have said that they want to build more tourism and they want to bring back tourism. At the moment, I do think things are very fresh. But that is just my personal opinion. I know that there are tour providers running tours to Syria, and I'm curious to know how those go. Afghanistan is technically Central Asia, but I also wouldn't go there at the moment. I probably would go to Iran. As a British person, I have to be on a tour to go to Iran, and tours are still running to Iran, so I probably would go. I'd go to Iraq. My partner went to Iraq last year and absolutely loved it and said for the most part it is safe. Jordan is the next country that I'm going to, and I'm really, really looking forward to that. And I have heard it is a great country for tourists and it's very, very, very safe. So I can't wait for that. Egypt, I've been to a few times and I would definitely go to. Then we've got UAE, super safe. Oman, super safe. Saudi is very, very safe, I am led to believe. I would go independently. Bahrain is fine. Kuwait and Qatar, I think, are fine. Is that all of the countries in the Middle East? I think those are all the countries in the Middle East. The other place that I would go to is Socotra, which is an island off the coast of Yemen, which is away from a lot of the issues in Yemen. As you can see, most countries in the Middle East I definitely would go to, or would at least consider going to. And I am a very safety conscious traveller. I do a lot of research into the safety of places that I go, and I would have deemed all of these places safe enough for my safety filter to go to. Obviously, people's safety levels vary. Some people have a lot lower safety tolerance than me, some people have a lot higher, but for me personally, I would go to most countries in the Middle East at the moment. Now, the reason why I say it is a great time to visit in 2025 is because I think the Middle East is getting such a bad perception, once again, as somewhere that is war-torn. Obviously, there's been a horrific war in Syria, there was historically a horrific war in Iraq, but obviously in this last year there has been horrific war in Palestine. So yes, there are wars in the Middle East, but the wars in the Middle East don't cross over the entire region. And I think it's really important to not consider the Middle East as one, because wars are happening in some places because other places are extremely safe. So to give Jordan as an example, Jordan has often been seen as an extremely safe Middle Eastern destination. However, it is right next to Palestine. But because, you know, it is a different nation, that means that it has always been safe. And the same applies for Oman, for example. Oman is right next to Yemen, but Oman has always been a beacon of safety. So it's really important to just not say, oh, there's fighting going on in this place, which means that the whole region should be off the guards. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is personal safety. I see safety as like two tiers. I see safety in the day-to-day, like when you're walking out on the streets, whether something might happen to you. And then I see safety as in unrest and war, security issues, that kind of thing. And while parts of the Middle East definitely do have their issues with global security issues, unrest, war, etc., I would say on the whole, the Middle East, social-wise, is safer than Europe. Whenever I've been to the Middle East, I have had the nicest experiences. I've met the loveliest people. I felt so welcomed. People have really looked out for me in a way that people don't in Europe. And I always tell this story, but the scariest thing that's ever happened to me when I've been travelling, not that many scary things have happened to me. I'm quite streetwise, especially when I travel on my own. But I was in Vienna train station and a man came up to me, started talking to me, grabbed my arm, I backed away, he went towards me, I screamed. This was in Vienna train station in the middle of the afternoon and no one came to see if I was okay. Everyone just kind of looked and was like, oh, okay. Anyway, he did back off. But I feel like if something like that happened in the Middle East, you'd get a lot of people coming around to check you're okay. People are just nice. Or at least people are more open. People are more welcoming to tourists and people want to help tourists to their country. This is nothing against Austrian people in general, by the way. I would say the same about the UK. Like, I'm talking about Europe as a whole here, but I've just felt so welcomed and in that regard so safe. And I feel like if things did happen, people look out for other people a lot more in a way that they don't in Europe. So I do think that it is really important to keep visiting the Middle East, keep going to all of these places that are safe and that are a long way from war and fighting and everything, because I think it's really important to change this perception. I know from my travels to the Middle East that it is very safe, very welcoming, and just an incredible place to visit. And I really wish more people would know this and more people would be aware of it. And like I say, it's such a big place and there's so much diversity in it. And you can find that there are so many safe places within the Middle East. Just some of the reasons to visit are the food, the hummus, the falafel. This is mainly in Lebanon, but I have heard Jordan is similar food and I'm very excited for that. The history, it has some of the oldest cities in the world. Like Iraqi Kurdistan, which has been safe for a very long time, is home to Erbil, which may be the oldest city in the world. Like I say, I wouldn't personally visit Lebanon on holiday at the moment, but Lebanon has some amazing historic cities as well. It has Byblos, Batroun. All of these cities are ancient. Like, history just comes alive there. And like I say, the welcoming people. I remember when I was in Egypt, it was Ramadan and we walked down one of the main streets and people were breaking their fast and everyone stopped to offer us some of their iftar, which is the meal people eat after when they finish Ramadan when they finish fasting for the day. Everyone was offering us stuff completely free. They weren't asking for any money, and we didn't really want to take it because we hadn't been eating, obviously, but we hadn't been fasting like they'd been fasting. But also, a lot of people wanted us to take it. It was just such a lovely experience, and that kind of generosity is around you so much in the Middle East. So there are some places in the Middle East that are going through hell at the moment. And I hope to be able to ultimately use my platform to raise awareness of this and hopefully raise money to help charities that are on the ground in these places as well. But I also just really want to implore people to not let prejudices and misconceptions stop them from seeing some of the most incredible places in the world, because the Middle East I have a special place in my heart for it. So I am going to Jordan in 4 days. I'll be in Jordan when this is uploaded and I'm so excited. It's somewhere that has been on my list for a long time, and we did keep a close eye on the advisories and what was going on, whether there was going to be any escalation with the awful conflict in Palestine. We decided, after speaking to some local people and doing a bit of research from people who'd been there, that it was very safe to visit, and in fact I think it will be safer than most places that we visited previously. So we're going to be there for 2 weeks. We're going to be seeing all of the main sites, Petra, Amman, Wadi Rum, but also going to a few lesser known places as well, and I for one am super excited. So if you want to see what it is like on the ground in Jordan at the moment, moment. Please do subscribe to this channel because I will be posting my full adventure on here and my full honest opinions. I do really want to say that I think 2025 is the year to explore the Middle East, so go out there and enjoy it.